Is anyone really in control anymore? Slack pings every 30 seconds. Deadlines move without warning. Half your team is remote. The other half is multitasking through 3 dashboards, and you're still expected to hit the target. In environments this fast, this digital, and this unpredictable, is anyone really in control? Here's the surprising answer: yes, but not in the way we used to be. In modern organizations, control isn't about command, it's about clarity, rhythm, and response. You can't plan every detail, but you can build systems that help you stay aligned, spot drift early, and lead with insight, even when things change fast. In today's video, we'll explore how contemporary control systems work inside dynamic teams and digital businesses. You'll learn how control has evolved from rigid reporting to real-time insight, what agile and adaptive control looks like, how digital tools help but don't replace leadership, and why managing your own career starts with managing your own control system. Because leadership today isn't just about seeing the future. It's about staying aligned while everything shifts around you. The evolution of control. To understand modern control, we need to take a quick look at where we've come from. In traditional organizations, control meant fixed plans, clear chains of command, monthly or quarterly reports, and centralized decision making. It was slow, structured, and built for environments where change was the exception, not the rule. But today, change is constant. Teams are distributed, markets shift weekly, technology evolves mid project, and decisions have to be made faster, more collaboratively, and often in real time. That old model of top down control doesn't work anymore. So, what's replaced it? Modern control is adaptive, real time, and often decentralized. Adaptive control. Instead of rigid plans, modern teams use short planning cycles like agile sprints. This allows for quick feedback, fast iteration, and continuous adjustment. Control is no longer about sticking to the original plan at all costs. It's about recognizing when the plan needs to change and doing something about it before it's too late. In other words, control isn't rigid, it's responsive. Real time visibility. Today's leaders don't wait for monthly reports. They rely on dashboards, analytics, customer feedback, and collaboration tools that give instant access to performance data. This real time insight lets managers see what's working, what's breaking, and what needs attention right now. But here's the key: data alone doesn't create control. It's what you do with it that matters. Modern control requires interpretation, not just measurement. Distributed ownership. Control no longer lives only at the top. In fast moving teams, everyone plays a role in tracking performance, surfacing issues, and suggesting course corrections. This means more transparency, more trust, and more expectation that every team member understands their metrics. Leaders don't control every detail. They design systems where the team helps itself stay on track. Control has shifted from rigid top down structures to more dynamic, team driven approaches. Today, it's about continuous input, flexible goals, and real time adjustments. This isn't less control, it's smarter control designed for speed and adaptability. Agile and adaptive control systems. Let's talk about what modern control really looks like when teams put it into practice. Because it's not just about dashboards or checklists anymore. It's about embracing a mindset and building systems that help people lead through change, not avoid it. There are two big ideas at the heart of this approach: agility and adaptability. Agile control systems. In traditional management, you'd build a plan, execute it over several months, and then evaluate once everything is done. Agile flips that entire model. Instead of waiting, Agile control operates in short repeating cycles, typically 1 to 2 weeks long. These cycles include daily check ins, end of cycle reviews, and immediate adjustments. It's a fast iterative loop: plan, act, review, adjust. This rhythm allows teams to catch problems early, continuously improve, and stay aligned even as goals shift. Now, some people think agile means managers step back completely, but that's not the case. In agile systems, managers don't disappear. They simply take on a new role. Instead of controlling, they facilitate. They keep the rhythm going. They help teams ask what's working, what's getting in our way, what should we try next. Adaptive control systems. If agility is about having fast, consistent cycles, adaptability is about how you respond to what those cycles uncover. Adaptive control systems are designed to handle uncertainty, complexity, and new information as it comes in. That might mean adjusting key performance indicators mid project or reassigning team roles based on shifting workloads. It could even mean reallocating resources or rewriting a part of the strategy based on real world feedback. Here's the key difference: adaptive systems don't treat change as a failure, they treat it as information. Instead of saying, we're off track, they say, let's learn from what we're seeing and respond. That's not rigidity, that's resilience. The leadership shift. When you start using agile and adaptive control systems, your role as a manager evolves too. It's not just about asking, are we on track? It's about asking deeper questions. Is this still the right track? Are our assumptions still valid? Do our people have what they need to adjust? Enco. This kind of leadership is less about commanding and more about coaching. You're guiding the system, not micromanaging the tasks. Here is a real world example. Take a product team that releases new features every 2 weeks. They immediately analyze user data and adapt based on what they learn. Or a nonprofit that runs monthly feedback surveys, not to fill out a report, but to reshape its programming in real time. Or consider a student run organization. After every event, they run a quick debrief, identify one thing to improve, and apply it before the next event. That's modern control. It's not slower. It's actually faster because you're not waiting for the big reveal. You're learning, adjusting, and leading in real time. Digital tools and real time visibility. Now let's talk about tools. Because if you're managing performance in a modern environment, digital visibility changes everything. You can't control what you can't see. And you certainly can lead effectively if you're always looking in the rearview mirror. Modern control systems thrive on real time insight, and that's where digital tools come in. Think of dashboards as live windows into how your team is performing. They gather data from all across the organization: finance, operations, marketing, engagement, and bring it together in one central place. A great dashboard helps you monitor KPIs in real time, spot trends before they become problems, and stay aligned with your goals on a daily basis. But here's the thing: dashboards don't tell you what to do, they show you what's happening so you can decide what to do next. The real skill for leaders isn't just observing the data, it's interpreting it and using it to guide smart decisions. Cloud based project management tools are platforms like Asana, Notion, Trello, or Monday. These tools help teams assign tasks, track progress, and communicate updates, all in one place. They create transparency around what's being done, who's responsible, and where the blockers are. For managers, this means live visibility into the work. You can see who's on track, what's falling behind, and what might be getting lost in the shuffle. And importantly, it's not about surveillance. It's about supporting accountability without having to constantly hover over your team. AI and predictive analytics are powered by artificial intelligence. These tools can forecast risks, recommend next steps, and send automated alerts. They can even analyze patterns in behavior or performance. You might get a notification that says, this campaign is underperforming compared to past launches, or this team's engagement dropped 12% last week. These insights can be powerful, but they aren't conclusions. They're starting points for conversation. Remember, you're still the leader. The AI isn't in charge. Its role is to support your decision making, not replace it. Data gives you awareness, but it's your judgment that drives action. Instant feedback loops. Digital platforms also make it easy to create fast, ongoing feedback loops. You can use pulse surveys, 360 reviews, real-time polls, or anonymous Q&A tools. You don't have to wait for the annual performance review to find out how your team is doing or how your leadership is being received. And that's a form of control too, not just tracking what's happening, but understanding how people are experiencing their work in real time. A word of caution. Here's an important reminder. More tools doesn't mean more control. You can drown in dashboards. You can automate so much that it becomes overwhelming or unclear. The best digital systems are simple, consistent, and focused on real outcomes, not just outputs. And the best leaders? They don't just log into the tools. They log meaning. They ask the right questions. They use the data to guide human decisions, not to replace them. So here's the takeaway. Digital tools give you visibility, but it's leadership that turns that visibility into action. Control and psychological safety. Let's shift the focus from dashboards to dialogue. Because even in a world full of data, one of the most powerful control tools a team can have is still human feedback. And for that to really work, teams need more than just systems. They need something deeper, psychological safety. What is psychological safety? It's the belief that you can speak up, that you can ask questions, admit mistakes, share honest feedback, and even challenge ideas without fear of being embarrassed or punished. In teams where psychological safety exists, people raise issues early. They talk about problems openly. They feel a shared responsibility for outcomes. And that right there, that's control through culture. So, what does this have to do with management? Everything. Because if your team doesn't feel safe, they won't tell you when something's going wrong. They won't admit when they're confused. They won't suggest better ways to do the work. And that means no matter how advanced your control system is, no matter how digital or real time, it's only giving you part of the story. Without trust, your data is incomplete. And without feedback, your leadership is flying blind. So, how do managers create psychological safety? It starts with behavior. Here are 4 things you can do. First, ask for input early and often. Don't just ask any questions. That's not enough. Instead, try what are we missing? Where do you feel stuck? If you were in charge, what would you change? Second, respond non defensively. When someone brings you bad news, don't punish it, praise it. Say, thanks for catching that, or good call to flag this early. This builds trust and encourages future honesty. Third, model vulnerability. Talk about your own mistakes. Admit when you don't have the answer. It sends a powerful message that learning is safe and expected. Fourth, close the loop. When someone gives feedback, act on it or explain why you're not. This shows respect, builds credibility, and keeps the dialogue going. Here's the big idea. Control is a two-way street. It's not just about asking what are the metrics saying, it's also asking what are people seeing and are they willing to tell me? Psychological safety turns your team into an early warning system. It gives you faster course corrections. It improves accuracy. And it creates a culture where high performance is sustainable, not forced. So here's your leadership question. Do your people feel safe telling you the truth, especially when it's uncomfortable? Because real time feedback isn't just a feature on a digital platform, it's a function of leadership. Career management as self control. So far, we've talked about control in teams, in systems, and across entire organizations. But now, Let's bring it closer to home because the truth is, your very first control system is you. Career management is personal control. It's how you set goals, track your progress, respond to setbacks, learn from feedback, and course correct as you grow. It's not just about getting things done, it's about leading your own development with purpose. First, set standards for yourself. You don't need a boss to define growth for you, you can define it for yourself. Maybe that means building new skills, expanding your network, becoming a better leader, or simply delivering stronger results in your current role. Ask yourself, what does progress look like for me, not just this semester, but over the next year? That's your performance standard, even if no one else is holding you to it. Second, measure what matters. Don't just rely on gut feelings. Track what you're accomplishing. Note the feedback you've received. Reflect on where you've improved and what challenges you've faced and how you handled them. You can use whatever works for you: a journal, a goal tracking app, a simple checklist, even a weekly reflection document, because visibility builds momentum and reminds you that growth doesn't have to be perfect to be real. Third, compare and reflect. Look at where you were 3 months ago. What used to feel stressful that no longer does? Has your confidence changed? This is your feedback loop. It helps you see what's working, what's stuck, and what needs to shift. This isn't about judgment, it's about pattern recognition so you can improve with intention. Fourth, take corrective action. You're not going to grow in a straight line. Some goals will stall, some plans won't pan out, and sometimes what mattered before won't matter now. So adjust, reflect, recalibrate, recommit, or let it go. The same loop we use in business: set, track, compare, adjust, applies here too. When you use it for your own development, it becomes self leadership. And that's essential, especially in careers that don't follow a straight path. Fifth, build support systems. Personal control doesn't mean doing it alone. Ask for feedback, find a mentor, create peer check ins, join a community that helps you stay focused. The most successful people don't just set goals, they build systems around them. Even a small habit, like a 10-minute weekly review, can lead to big results over time. So here's your reflection question: what's your current system for managing your own growth? And what could you do this week to improve it? Because controlling your career isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. Present to what you're building, how you're growing, and where you want to go next. Let's bring it home. Control isn't what it used to be. It's no longer about static reports, rigid plans, or watching over people's shoulders. Today, control is something different. It's about staying aligned in real time. It's about using data as a conversation, not a command. And it's about building systems that help people perform, even in fast changing environments. In modern leadership, control shows up in two places: in the way you lead others and in the way you manage yourself. Let's recap what you've learned. Control has evolved. It's no longer about rigid oversight, it's about adaptive, real time guidance. Agile systems use short cycles and constant feedback to help teams adjust as they go. Digital tools create visibility, but they only work if leaders use them to make better decisions. Psychological safety turns feedback into a strength, not a threat. And personal control starts with habits: setting clear goals, tracking your growth, and making purposeful adjustments. This isn't just theory, this is your competitive advantage. Because in fast moving environments, the people who thrive aren't just hardworking, they're systems thinkers. They think in loops, they lead with rhythm, and they build systems that adapt, not just survive. Leadership isn't just about vision, it's about designing the infrastructure that keeps people, including yourself, on course when things get hard, messy, or unclear. The best leaders don't rely on discipline alone. They create systems that make discipline easier to sustain. And you can do that too, starting now.